Well, we are back for another podcast. Today, you know, the pretty much the biggest topics that we're going to be talking about are a little bit different than the typical, straight up news, leaks, whatever type of topics we typically talk about, and you will see exactly what I mean by that in a little bit when we get to them. But with that being said, the first thing we're going to be going over is some TV show related news, related topics. And to start off with that, we have Star Wars. And I'm sure you guys already know what I'm going to say next relating to that.
No. Jar Jar.
Sheesh.
No, probably something about A New Hope.
Hey, man.
All right, well, that's cheating. You read the script, so that doesn't count.
Hey, I'm just causing some how I see some.
Nah, we got.
Almost had a stroke, Sam.
Sheesh, starting off strong. I see. Let's go, dude.
You better hurry up for it.
But now we got the Mandalorian. Let's talk about first. 2 episodes have come out since the last podcast, episodes 3 and 4. So, do you guys want me to say what I have to say first, or do you want to go ahead?
Yes. Say your piece.
Okay. Do you want me to just combine them both, or say the one episode and then?
Are you wielding the
You
dark
do
saber
both.
at the same time?
What?
Are you wielding the dark saber at the same time?
Okay, I'm
What
just
one
gonna. So
One
yeah,
of
I don't even know at this point. I don't even try to comprehend. But no, the 3rd episode, right? Quite a, well, I won't say quite a few, but there were some haters on episode 3. I'm not gonna lie, but personally, I actually didn't mind it. I thought it did some pretty interesting things.
Episode 3, that was the one with the follow the science dude, right?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
And the main reason.
Sorry, go on.
Yeah, the main reason why some people didn't really care for it was because, I don't know if you guys remembered, but we talked about that episode being like an hour long, like before it came out. So like a bunch of people were like, "Oh, dude, this is gonna be awesome! An hour of Mando," and Mando was only in it for like 10 minutes of that hour long runtime. A lot of people were saying that like maybe the whole Dr. Pershing like side plot, whatever, maybe could have been shortened down a little bit. But me personally, though, I actually didn't mind it because I thought it did some pretty cool things. I actually thought that it did some things better than Andor, or I guess I should say, I thought it did some of the things that Andor was trying to do better than Andor in literally one episode. And what I mean by that is one of the main settings, right, in Andor, and I know, Evan, you said you had started to watch it. I don't know how far you got, but one of like the main settings in Andor was Coruscant, right? Yeah, literally.
I do like the parallels between like what it was like in Coruscant.
Oh, for
before
sure.
The
Yeah.
fall, it was all like white and shit. And
Yeah.
then the color sort of came back after the fall. But go on.
Yeah. But yeah, basically I was gonna say, like, I feel like we literally saw more of Coruscant in this one episode of Mando than we did all of Andor. Even though Andor was like, and what I mean by that is like in Andor, I feel like most of the scenes you see when they're on Coruscant are like indoors, right? Like you can't really like tell that they're on Coruscant, like if they didn't say they were. Whereas this episode, like you actually get to see them walking around like in the town's like center and stuff like that. You see them like take the train to like different parts. Like, I don't know. I just like really
we've
like
seen
that
the
decision.
peak of that mountain
Yeah.
twice in the series. Or in the last last 2 episodes.
Yes. Yeah. but yeah, I just thought that was really cool, which I thought we would like see more stuff like that in Andor. But we didn't. I mean, to be fair, there's still season 2 of Andor. We'll see what happens in there. Um, but yeah, and then I also thought that, which I, interestingly enough, I haven't seen a lot of people bring up. I thought that it showed, um, like a different side of the Republic that not many people are aware of, right? And what I mean by that is like in some ways they're actually not that different from the Empire. like,
Yeah.
like it's just like, any type of like governmental like body, I guess, like aside from, like a couple like differing like viewpoint or like some differing viewpoints and stuff like that on like certain things, like at its core, like in some ways, like, both sides are like they do some things the same. And what I mean by that is like the Republic really isn't all like that good per se, at least in terms like as some people view it as, right? Like it's not just this pinnacle of like a utopia like Republic, like some people like make it out to be. Like they've definitely made mistakes, and as we saw in episode 3, they are continuing to make mistakes in how they choose to operate and do things. But yeah, I just thought that was like really interesting to see, because again, I thought that was something that, well, Andor, they did actually kind of go into that a little bit. We saw like the Rebel Alliance like starting to do like some shady stuff, right? And and their justification for it is, like, oh, it's the greater of two evils, like we need to do it to take down the big bad empire, whatever. But yeah, I just thought that was a pretty cool like subplot thing to see. But I don't know like how much more of that we'll see, or like how much further they plan to dive into that like side plot, at least in this show. But I thought it was cool. Do you have anything else to say on that before we talk about episode 4?
No, I mean, I pretty much agree. Like, I really liked, because we get to see like how the Republic is taking steps to like try and assimilate the Empire, but
Right.
in doing so, they are so arrogant that
Yeah.
like, that they won, that like they're not paying attention to the smaller shit that is gonna permeate throughout their quote unquote new republic, and it's gonna start corrupting it like we're seeing. And I like that we were able to see that, and it's not just all Mando shooting guys.
Right, yeah. So
Although I do like the Mando shooting.
right, well, for sure, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, don't get it twisted.
I take it you have not got caught up yet, have you, Ben?
No.
All right, well, I hate to do it, but not at the same time, if you know what I mean. But we gotta talk about episode 4 and the latest episode, and the big reveal spoiler that I guess that happened in that episode. And for those of you that watch it, you already know what I'm gonna say, but
Back, baby.
we finally got to see who rescued Grogu from the Jedi Temple in Order 66. And, a lot of pretty much every single one of the fan theories proved to be not true. Because it wasn't Obi-Wan, it wasn't Yoda, it wasn't Mace Windu, it wasn't, any of those. It was actually, drumroll, who's gonna do it?
No.
Sheesh. Well, I was gonna say I was gonna have you say it, but it was Kelleran Beck. It's the
okay.
is the Jedi who rescued Grogu, and I've seen a lot of people saying like, oh, is this like a brand new Jedi like added to the canon or whatnot? And like technically not, because
Game show.
yeah, he was introduced in like this Star Wars like kids game show a little while ago. However, most people assumed that was not canon. Like they're like, okay, you know, this is kind of like a game show thing, like
Well, most people would be wrong.
not really tie into the Star Wars universe and whatnot. But yeah, it's
Just like
a sheesh. But yeah, it's now confirmed that he is canon in the Star Wars universe. And for those of you that don't know, the actor that plays him, Ahmed Best, he was a guy that played Jar Jar in the prequel trilogy. So, you know, obviously, if you know anything about those movies and the character of Jar Jar, you know that most people hated the character. And unfortunately, you know, the actor that played him also got a lot of hate because of that. So it was really cool to see him come back in a role that like most people agree like is like a really cool role. Like they're happy to see him in. So it's kind of cool to see him, I guess, get quote unquote redeemed per se. In the eyes of a lot of people. But I mean, I was never one of the people that were like hating on the actor like because of the character. Like that's just stupid to me. But yeah, it is cool to see him play like a different character that like most people seem to like now. But I don't know, what do you think?
I don't really have much much more to add.
So
I thought that so is this about this? Am I talking about the 4th episode, or am I talking about Ahmed Best?
well, both, but either or, I guess.
Okay, well, you said pretty much all I wanted to say.
Okay.
But yeah, no, the 4th episode, shortest episode yet. But I said it when I watched it. I said it to Josh after I watched it. I was like, man, 33 minutes. Like, 7 of those are gonna be like fucking credits, man. And I watched the episode, and a whole bunch of shit happened, and I was smiling the whole time.
Yeah,
So
it was a really
can't
good
say
episode.
I don't want a longer episode like that, but I get
Yeah.
why. And yeah, but no, we got some cool shit. I hope we see more of that, of Grogu's flashbacks. I started rewatching Mando actually. I didn't realize this. The very first episode, Mando has those same exact flashbacks that Grogu has. Because he gets those flashbacks when she's hitting the hammer.
Oh
making his
yeah.
best guy. Like his
Yeah.
first piece. And he sees it at the same time. So I thought that was a cool parallel between the two characters.
That's actually a good point. I didn't even put two and two together on that.
Yeah, I watched it. It was legit like the same setup and everything.
Sheesh. Cool. Well, do you think well, you already said you hope that we see more, but do you think that they will like show more of like Grogu's journey like in the aftermath, right? With Keller and Beck, or yeah.
I feel like they have to, because I feel like they set it up in Obi-Wan, the path, and I feel like that's what this is alluding to,
right?
Is the path that saves these fucking Jedi after Order 66,
right?
Which I'm assuming that's what this is, but yeah, no, I think we'll see more of it. I feel like we kind of have to.
Yeah, I do too. I just hope they do it sooner rather than later, because if you think about it, like they've kind of like been sprinkling in like Grogu flashbacks like ever since season 1, and like they don't really show a whole lot like when they do it. So I hope like this isn't the only like flashback we get this season, and then they wait to do like another one like next season, you know?
Yeah, I feel like,
I feel like that would be.
Is this season also going to be 8 episodes?
Yeah, 8 episodes. So we're already halfway done.
Disney, man.
But yeah,
they can make it longer and they choose not to.
Yeah. But I don't know. We'll have to see what happens. And I definitely hope we get more. Oh, one other thing I wanted to add too. So when the ship that they escape on, right? And like those guards that were like outside of it, they look very similar. Well, not only the guards, but like also the ship itself looked very similar to those like which from the planet Naboo. And for those of you that don't know what that planet is, that's the planet where Padme is from. The Emperor himself, Palpatine, is from there. And obviously Jar Jar as well. So some people think that one of those three characters like organized the escape by like arranging like the guards and like the ship so that they can escape on and stuff like that. And the reason I say, or the reason people are saying those three is because there's not really anyone else of note that's like from that planet that like people would recognize, I guess. I mean, I guess it could like either just be a random coincidence, or it could just be it could turn out to be just some like random new character from the planet that like no one really knows about. But it is something interesting to think about at the very least. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got for that. New episode Wednesday, episode 5, and that episode, if I remember correctly, the runtime is gonna be around like the average time of I think like 42 or 43 minutes, if I remember correctly. But here you have it. Ben, you should definitely get caught up ASAP. That's all I'll say.
That's episode 4.
Well, just all of the episodes get caught up. But yeah, the one we were just talking about is episode 4.
There'll be 4 episodes out by Wednesday.
5. Yeah.
Oh shit, dude! I can binge more than half the season.
True. Yeah. But yeah, all right. With that being said, we'll move on because we still have a few other Star Wars things to cover before the next topic, and the first of which is we're going to be talking about a couple new things that have come out about the upcoming Ahsoka show, and apparently, it's going to be 8 episodes, and it's going to be split into. It's going to be split into 2 4-part story arcs. So like the first 4 episodes is going to kind of be like one story arc, and then I guess there's going to be a time jump, and then the second 4 episodes are going to be a whole different story, which is rumored to be the story arc where she actually goes and finds
after she knows that he's
where Ezra is. Yeah.
Brannigan Skywalker is now Marth Cater.
Okay.
Cater don't play no shit.
Sheesh.
Damn.
But yeah, they said, for those of you that have watched the Rebel show, apparently the end of episode 4, so the end of the first part is going to end with the prologue scene from the Rebel show. Where Ahsoka's like looking at like the mural or whatever, and she meets with Satine, or not Satine. Who am I thinking of?
I don't know, dude. You're the Star Wars nerd.
All right, well, it'll
Star Wars nerd. Ben, what are you a nerd of? Pokemon.
Yeah, we'll just say that.
It's Sabine. That's what I'm thinking of. Sabine Wren.
Oh yeah, that person.
But yeah, that's
how could I forget Sabine?
Well, have you seen Rebels?
How could I forget the Bean? No, I haven't seen it all. No.
Okay. Well, if you seen literally a single episode, you've probably seen the character.
I'm sure I've seen her, but
she's like the one Mandalorian character that's in the show. But anyways, the last thing relating to this is that apparently they got one of the directors from House of the Dragon to direct a couple of episodes for this show. So, and obviously that's already happened because they filmed quite a while ago, but we never knew like who the directors were for the show, but now it's starting. That information is starting to come out. So, and with that being said, we move on to the second part of the Ahsoka show related news, and apparently, when they do find Ezra in the unknown regions of the galaxy and meet up with him, apparently, well, throughout the whole show, Sabine, I guess, is going to be wielding his lightsaber in combat, but even once they meet up with him, he's just apparently going to let her keep his lightsaber. And how he is going to fight is apparently he, you know, since he spent so many years without his lightsaber, he's learned like this
do the Darth Vader thing, where he
pretty,
just fights without the lightsaber.
yeah, pretty much. They say like he's developed his own style of like force martial arts, I guess, to like use in combat or whatever. But and then there is this other crazy rumor that apparently at one point he's because obviously we've gone over the rumor that they're going to be fighting like an undead army that like Grand Admiral Thrawn like finds out like how to take control over whatever. But apparently he's gonna use like this. He's gonna use like this Dragon Ball like Kamehameha type like force blast to just annihilate like the entire army. Ezra.
Goku's gonna be in Star Wars. What the frick?
I don't know if that part is true, but that they just kind of like briefly mentioned that in like the article.
They're doing whatever they want with it.
They were like, yeah, Ezra's gonna have this martial arts force type combat. Oh yeah, and at one point he's just gonna throw a Dragon Ball blast at like the army of zombies and just destroy them all. But
zombies.
Yeah, we'll have to see how that plays out. But I mean, all this stuff, you know, I guess it depends on how they execute it. But at face value, all this stuff definitely sounds cool. So we'll have to see what it ends up actually happening and what doesn't. But anyways, the very last thing that I have relating to Star Wars is that apparently the directing duo called the Daniels, they directed Everything Everywhere All at Once, for those of you that don't know who they are. But it was recently revealed that they will be directing at least one episode of the upcoming Skeleton Crew show, Star Wars show later this year. So that is pretty cool, because that was a very good movie. So it's cool to see that they're getting more opportunities and like a part of like larger franchises and whatnot. But yeah,
should be good.
And like I have to say, like from what we don't know a whole lot about the show, to be fair, but from what little we do know about the show, I have to say like this was probably like my least anticipated of the 3 Star Wars shows coming out this year. But just based off like what we know so far about the story, but I will say like the talent like behind the camera that they've assembled, like between John Watts as like the showrunner and the writer, and like now these guys like directing some episodes, like I think they definitely have assembled like the most talent behind the camera, like behind the scenes. Okay, no, they're definitely not a skeleton crew, but but yeah, you know, we'll have to see. But there's definitely increases my excitement levels a little bit for this show. So
I'm excited. Is that where you're at?
Not quite there. Not quite to that level.
Sound
But
like you were excited,
we're getting
bro.
there.
Same.
We're getting there.
Same, bro. You got lied to us.
Sheesh. But all right, yeah, that's pretty much what I have, at least for now, relating to Star Wars stuff. Do you guys have anything else to add to anything we talked about?
I don't think so. Are we getting the Obi-Wan season 2?
No clue.
You were the chosen season.
They said that, you know, if the first season was successful, they could probably do a season 2, and the first season was, you know, in terms of viewership, was pretty successful. So
Nah, it was ass, dude. Nobody watched it. I didn't even watch it.
so we'll see. I have no idea, but anyways, with that being said,
Anakin Skywalker.
we will move on to some Marvel related stuff in the TV show space. And with that being said, Ben, do you want to take over?
So, the Hollywood Reporter has revealed that both Kingpin and Daredevil will have important roles in the upcoming Echo series, confirming rumors from a few months back. Now, also, according to their sources, Daredevil will be searching for an ally widely speculated to be Jessica Jones, aka Strong Bitch. Right? She's strong, right?
Yes.
So, had never seen her before, but heard she's pretty damn strong.
I thought you said you saw the Netflix shows.
No, dude, like I haven't seen Jessica Jones or I haven't seen Luke Cage, and someone was telling me that the Iron Fist wasn't anything to hee haw about.
Say hee
Well,
haw.
Hee haw, yeah.
Okay.
Well, whoever told you that is correct, but
yeah, that's not wrong.
yeah, aside from that, all the other shows are pretty good. I would say.
First season of Jessica Jones.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I should clarify that. First season was good. After that, it kind of started to go downhill a bit, but you know,
So, side
it is
note
what it
here,
is.
since we're talking about Daredevil, I realized when I first watched Daredevil all the way through, there was a gap between season 2 and season 3 because of the whole Defenders thing.
Yeah. Yes. I was trying to remember. I was like, it's like, wait, was that between?
Yes. Maybe no. Yes. Maybe no.
I can't remember the exact timeline of when those seasons take place, but I think so. Yeah.
I don't know if it's on here. Let me look before I speak too soon here. But apparently, yeah, I think I'm going to talk about it. But apparently, I have seen a rumor floating around on the internet that this Daredevil Reborn is during the blip period. And the rumors were swirling. This is why we aren't going to see Foggy and Karen in the series.
It could be.
So that makes a lot of sense if they're not casted for these roles. So
if it does take, yeah, if that does turn out to be the case, I feel like that would be a good way to like write their characters out of the show if it takes place, you know, during that time. But
also makes me wonder too if like, no, Elektra's not a thing. Never mind.
Sheesh. Not yet, anyways.
Right.
All right. But yeah, that's pretty cool, I guess, to have that confirmed. Do you want to move on to the next one?
So yeah, Variety has revealed that their sources have claimed Marvel still plans to release 3 to 4 Disney Plus shows this year. Recent rumors now have claimed there was a good chance only 2 would release. Loki Season 2 and Secret Invasion are confirmed for this year, while the third show is widely to be believed to be Echo if they needed to release another show later this year. Which I guess makes sense, but I guess we'll just see how the year pans out.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys remember that that like Marvel Reddit leaked slate that we went over a couple weeks ago, but I remember that did say that Echo was still scheduled to come out like towards the end of this year. So hopefully that is the case, because granted how long we've already had to wait for this next show that's coming out, which is Secret Invasion, that would kind of suck if we had to wait this long and then we still only get 2 shows this year. But you know, we'll see what happens.
When we saw Echo in what Disney show was she in?
Hawkeye.
Okay.
Hawkeye. That's where we first got introduced that was raised under Fist.
Yeah.
So
Fist?
yeah, Fist. Yeah. So I guess in the hopes that, you know, before Daredevil Reborn comes back out, like they at least explore or show us what that would have looked like during that time. But I could see that also being a filler episode 2 of Daredevil Reborn. I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah, it does kind of seem, at least from what we've heard, it does kind of seem like it's gonna kind of be like a prequel to the Daredevil show. As in like most of what we'll see in that show is just kind of be set up in Echo. But I think we'll also like see like her own journey, like with the character of Echo as well, like whatever she's gonna be doing in the show. But okay.
Okay, that's a little out of pocket. That's a little out of pocket.
if the actress in real life wasn't actually deaf, I would be okay with the joke. Oh no. But yeah, we'll see.
Well, if you guys don't have anything else for that, we'll
Okay.
move on here.
Yep.
So Owen Wilson claimed that he thinks season 2 of Loki will premiere sometime towards the end of summer or September. So this would be a slight delay from the initial June premiere that was to be rumored before, but I mean, I guess it's not the end of the world if it doesn't initially release in June if they're redoing. Well, I guess they're not really redoing any, or we don't know if they're redoing anything, but
yeah. If you
kind
want
of space it out there.
If you want to go ahead and read the next one too, both of them kind of like tie together, and then we can talk about it a bit more.
So with that in mind, the official listing for another show coming out, Secret Invasion on Disney Plus, now says that the show will premiere on June 21st, which would be yet again another delay if true. Disney, curiously, has yet to make an official announcement confirming this. However, if this is the case, though, then I can definitely see Loki, at least to me, coming out in September.
Yeah. Yeah, so for those of you that haven't been keeping track, initially Secret Invasion was supposed to come out in March, so literally this month. Again, as to anyone's guess why they delayed it, but that's another story. It was supposed to come out in March, and then Loki was supposed to come out in June. And then, you know, you had, I think, Ironheart, which was coming out like the end of summer into like September, and then Echo was like the end of the year. But yeah, and then I think we talked about last time that Secret Invasion, they said, was delayed until May, so next month, and now it appears that it's been delayed yet again on top of that to this June 21st premiere date. Again, I don't know like why, because they've been done filming for a while. Like they've been done filming for like months now, so like, or not even months, they've been done filming for like a year. Yeah. Um, so I don't know. I just truly don't know why they keep delaying everything. But hopefully we just gotta keep our fingers crossed that it does not get delayed yet again past this June 21st spot, because that just means everything else is gonna have to get moved again. But yeah, if this stays put, I say Loki is still probably on track to come out late summer into September, and then hopefully Echo comes out by the end of the year.
Yeah, I guess we'll just have to wait and see what the timeline unfolds in release schedules. So the last thing that I have here is that insider Jeff Snyder is reporting that Marvel is filming a Mystic.
Can't be seen here.
That they are filming a Mephisto special presentation on the set of Agatha. Likely confirming he will appear in that show as well if true. Recent Marvel Reddit slate leak that said that Mephisto special is coming this October. That's kind of spooky.
Yeah, so we'll have to see if that's enough time. Because Agatha started filming in January. So if this is true, they've already been filming this special for at least 2 months now. But will that be enough time to complete filming and get it, edited and whatnot by October? I mean, I'd say there's a decent chance, but we'd have to see. Because if it doesn't come out this October again, if it even is a real thing, it probably wouldn't come out until like Halloween of next year. Because that definitely seems like a Halloween type special, But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
And that's all I got.
All right. Well, Evan, do you want to continue?
Yeah. Hold that. Oh. All right. You ready?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
All right. Cosmic Circus has recently reported on 3 major updates regarding MCU projects, continuing along the MCU line. The first report is that a Century special presentation is in development, and it will be filmed alongside the Thunderbolts movie this summer. Kind of, I guess, a twofer.
Yeah.
The recent Marvel Reddit slate leak claimed that this special is coming in December of this year. But, as we all know, leaks can mean anything, and we'll see what happens.
Right. Yeah, that was mainly just included as kind of like, the leak said this was a thing, and like now these other reports are saying that. I mean, they didn't back up the claim of like the release time. They just backed up that like the specials were, happening in general. But this one I feel like though is kind of less likely to me. It's if it is, if they do want it to come out by the end of this year or like around like the December holiday special time. Because yeah, Thunderbolts doesn't start filming until like July, so I mean, unless it's like really short, I don't see how they'd have enough time to film it, because like filming even for like the special probably takes at least a couple months, and then to edit, I mean, I guess it's 6 months. I don't know. We'll have to see what happens, but I feel like, because like with the Mephisto one, filming in Agatha, like that has what, 10 months like between filming and like by the time they need to have it done by, that'd be 10 months, whereas this one would only have about 6 months. So I don't know, we'll see. But that's all I got. That's all I got to say on the matter.
Yeah, no, I don't. It's kind of hard to talk about this now, and that like it could be literally like
Right.
fake. and it could have been real and then changed, like all that shit.
I mean, it sounds like more likely than not the special will happen. It's just like, when will it come out is like the only thing. Like,
But moving on to the next thing, which is I'm a little more interested in. The second report is that a season 2 of Moon Knight is indeed on the way, and that Kang will somehow factor in. Now, think back. Brain blast. I know you don't want to remember it, Ben. But
I like Moon Knight. Oh, just kidding.
Ant-Man 3. We saw Rama Tut.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna kick you butt.
Oh, yeah.
But rumor, that's not rumors, but we're assuming that that's who is going to show up as the Kang variant, if that is the case, because it would literally be the only one that makes sense. But
yeah.
But yeah, no, I if that's how we get a second season of Moon Knight, I don't give a fuck who's in it, as long as we get a second season.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, like,
that'd be cool.
Like usual, we'll have to wait and see what happens, but I definitely do, because like, if this is true, right, like a season 2 wouldn't come out until closer to the release of Kang Dynasty, right? Maybe even slightly after. So it would make sense, that they would have Kang, or at least a Kang variant in that show, because anything else I feel like just wouldn't make sense. But
right, yeah,
we'll see. But I'm definitely excited about the possibility of that.
Oh yeah. Okay, well, we'll move on. I don't really have anything else to say other than that would make sense and that'd be cool.
Agreed.
And the third report is that Kingpin will be running for mayor in Daredevil Born Again series. I don't know. I ain't never had no mayor. Sorry about that. Apparently, his campaign initiative will be cleaning up the streets of New York by getting rid of vigilante action with Daredevil, Punisher, Hawkeye, Kate Bishop, and Spider-Man said to be atop his hit list. Vincent D'Onofrio himself recently revealed that there will be a season 2 of the show, and that the Punisher has a major role in the show. Scooper My Time to Shine Hello later reported that D'Onofrio meant that the first season will be split into 2 parts, and that a season 2 has not yet been confirmed. So, a little information on, what Kingpin's role may be in the Daredevil Born Again series. I feel like that's kind of the natural, route for him, because that's kind of who his character is in most of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And if you're trying to, incorporate this into that same universe, then that makes sense. That's the move. I know there's been a couple theories about who bought Avengers Tower. It could be Fisk. It could be a version of Kang that bought it. But I do think Fisk would make sense as being one of the people that bought, Avengers Tower to make it his own.
Yeah.
What's it called in that one show? Fucking Pillar of Evil or some shit like that. The thing that sinks into the swamp.
Yeah, I remember what you're talking about. I can't remember what it's called.
The Temple of Doom or something like that. But that's essentially his main operations headquarters. So I could definitely see that being the case. That's not part of the report. That's just speculation that I have. But yeah. I feel like this isn't even like a report. I feel like it's like this probably what's gonna happen.
Yeah, the most interesting part to me, because you're right, I did kind of like figure that most of that other stuff was likely going to be the case, but the most interesting part to me was the mention of him going after Spider-Man, because like in the comics, because I mean, like, sure, in the comics and in the shows, like, yeah, like he's He's one of Spider-Man's like biggest enemies, but you know, we didn't know if they were gonna like actually, you know, combine like both of those things like in the movies, and you know, Sony kind of still has like a little bit of control over like what happens like with the character in the MCU and whatnot. Like who knew like what they wanted or what direction they wanted to go for like Spider-Man 4 and whatnot. But if this, you know, if this report is accurate, then I mean, it almost sounds like it's a given that Kingpin is going to show up in Spider-Man 4, at least as like one of the villains, you know. But I don't know. We'll have to see. But because I don't think, because if it's true he's going after Spider-Man as well, I don't think Spider-Man is going to show up in anything other than his own movie, you know. Like I don't. I mean, I guess they could always work something out with Sony, but as of right now, I literally think it's impossible for them to have him in like anything else other than like maybe like an Avengers film or something. But I don't know. We'll see what happens. But yeah, pretty cool.
But we will. Okay, well, moving on to something a little further away from the MCU.
Yeah.
It's we call this the Bezos cinematic universe, but the Rings of Power Amazon series has cast Ciaran, Hinds, Roy Kinnear, and others for upcoming season 2 and undisclosed supporting roles.
Sheesh.
I don't know who that first person is, but the second person, isn't that the Hound?
Wait, what? Which one are you
Like
talking
Rory?
about? No.
Oh, I'm just going by names. Sorry.
Rory,
I don't know every
he
fucking
was
name.
he was in hold on, let me see if this article says it. He was in the recent James Bond movies. He played Bill Tanner.
Yeah, him.
And then Ciaran Hinds, I mean, he's been in like quite literally everything. Like he's been in Game of Thrones, he's been in Harry Potter, he's been in he played Steppenwolf in the Justice League movie. I mean, like he's a pretty well-known actor, so was actually kind of
You
shocked.
say it like everybody knows his name, though.
Right. No, I mean, obviously, like I should say people know like his face. Like if you see him, like
Yeah, like fucking making me look like an idiot. Like, no, nobody knows this dude's name.
that's what I meant.
Just
Like
know
if
his
you
face.
like if you see him or hear him like talk, like you'll instantly recognize him. But
man's fucking Raider, dude. And I am right.
What?
Oh no, never mind. It's a different Rory.
Oh yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think that's cool. I feel like Ciaran Hinds is like definitely like the most established actor like that has been added to this show so far. So I don't know if that's going to be like the norm moving forward, like as the show gets like bigger. But I mean, we'll see. But definitely cool.
Oh, I know. Yeah. I guess first season's kind of mid, but you know, it's just me.
I think the second season will be better. It might be copium, but I think the second season will be better because they've already done like all of like, you know, the build up and like establishing of characters.
That what
and
people wanted to see though was
what do you mean?
Journey of how fucking what's his face came back power, isn't that like?
Yeah, but it feels like there's still like a lot more that has to happen though, you know, because like sure, like now we know like how he came. Well, I guess like, we still technically don't know exactly how he came back, but now he's back, and you know he's
Palpatine returns.
somehow
the Nazgul returns.
Oh no. But I don't know.
Anywho,
we'll see. Yeah,
I'm not complaining. I mean, it could have been much worse. So, but we'll move on to the next report.
Yes.
Stating that Robert Pattyboy, otherwise known as Robert Pattinson, otherwise known as Cedric Diggory, otherwise known as My Actual Reaction. will only appear as Bruce Wayne and not Batman in the upcoming Penguin series, which I think I talked about.
You did,
before.
yeah. You said that.
Some were claiming this is because Batman is not allowed to show up in TV projects due to merger rights issues. I mean, that could be like definitely a part of the reason, but I don't think that, like, story wise, it makes sense that it's just Bruce Wayne and not Batman. But James Gunn later debunked these claims on Twitter. But a lot of people are still skeptical since Batman has not shown up in any live action TV shows to date. I think it could either be that or the fact that they don't want to show anything because they don't know what kind of Batman capacity they want. Like I know they have like their 10-year plan and like they have an idea,
Right.
but I don't think like it's refined to the point that they feel comfortable showing, you know, some of the main characters again before they actually like redo them. Because they're like, because it's gonna be hard watching Ben Affleck Batman knowing damn well
it's not gonna be
goodbye forever. Right?
It's like that Magic Johnson meme where he's like, I'm not gonna be here. that's what Ben Affleck is essentially for the Batman moving forward. But
yeah, no, I mean that it makes sense, story wise, rights wise, time wise. Because I feel like most of the Penguin show is going to, you know, be about the Penguin, and I don't think Batman's main priority at that point is going to be the Penguin. I think he's going to be monitoring the Penguin, but I feel like he's focusing as Bruce Wayne because the city is literally drowning, and Batman can't financially save the city. It has to be Bruce Wayne.
True.
And that's where we're at in the story. So, yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I would agree with the report.
Yeah, like I do agree with that, and like I understand like why they wouldn't want to have like, you know, the DC version of Batman like in a live action TV show anytime soon, like at least before like The Brave and the Bold comes out. But it is curious though as to how, because they are right that like we haven't seen Batman in live action like ever before. I mean, I guess technically he was in the very last episode of Gotham, but you literally only saw him for like 2 seconds, like because he was technically in like most of the final episode, but like he was just kind of like off screen, and then they just kind of like quickly.
Oh yeah, I remember they show him
they just
on the top of the fucking building for like 3 seconds.
Yeah, they just like quickly like zoom in, you see him, and then cut to black. Quick, cut to black.
Cut to black. Don't see the suit.
So that part definitely is weird though. Like I'm not talking about like recently, but like, you know, throughout like all of like the shows that like either like Bruce Wayne has been in or like Batman himself like could have easily been in, right? Like that is definitely weird how like we haven't actually seen Batman in a live action show. So the only thing I can think of would be like there has to be like some rights related issues. Otherwise, like, because Batman is literally like one of the most popular DC characters. Like there's no way that, you know, you just wouldn't have him in a TV show if you couldn't, or if you could, you know. And you know, people make the argument like, oh, you know, maybe because he's such a well-known character, like they want to save him for the movies, right? And they don't want him in TV. But the same could be said with Superman, and we've literally seen Superman in so many TV shows and live action. So I just don't know. All I can say is if there truly isn't any rights issues and they haven't, you know, made a live action Batman show to date, I mean, that's a huge L on their part, in my opinion. But, you know, we'll see what happens.
I agree. That's all I got.
Okay, well, with that being said, we will move on to some movie related stuff, and some of which I'm going to be talking about coming up here is probably among the biggest developments that has come out since the last podcast episode. One of them isn't really news that we typically talk about, in terms of like it's not really directly related to like Star Wars, DC, Marvel, or like any other popular movie, but it kind of indirectly does impact the future of the MCU, and you'll know what I'm talking about when we get to it. But starting off, we have, unfortunately, some DC news to cover. And not unfortunately because it's DC news, unfortunately because it's unfortunate DC news. But the early projections as to how badly Shazam 2 is going to perform at the box office was unfortunately correct, because after the first week in theaters, the movie has literally made 56% less than Black Adam and the first Shazam movie did during or after their respective first weeks in theaters. So not great.
Is this giving more validation that Morbius is better than?
Oh my god!
Morbius isn't better than anything.
I hate some. I hate that Ben is right. No, not in that it's a better movie, but it technically did, or it's made 22% less than what Morbius did, and after its first week.
But
and
let's look at the marketing budget.
True. And
Shazam was barely marketed.
Yeah.
Plus, Morbius got 2 releases.
Yeah, and Morbius literally like they shoved that. Sony shoved that shit down our throat for months.
I forgot about that. I forgot they did a second release, dude. Oh no.
Yeah. They're like, you guys want it again? We're like, no, we were kidding.
But
no, we don't want to. Nobody's watching this.
But yeah, we're gonna be talking about that here very soon, as to some of the reasons why we think as to some of the reasons some of the reasons as to why we think Shazam 2 might not have performed as well, including the marketing. But before that, we have a couple other developments to go over, and in addition to the 56% less than Black Adam in the first movie, it has made a total of $36.6 million after the first week in the US. So pretty bad. Unfortunately, pretty bad. And that's with that being said,
I'll watch it, but like I haven't been going to the movies a lot, and it's only been for like the big things. There's just even things that like I want to see that I'm not gonna watch till it comes out.
Yeah,
like streaming or something.
Yeah.
I mean that's how everything everywhere all at once. Like I didn't watch it in theaters. I waited till it got online.
Right.
And
yeah.
I was like, oh, I probably should have watched that in theaters. But like too late.
Yeah.
I'll definitely watch Shazam on HBO. I'll be interested to see the HBO Max streaming numbers when it releases.
For sure. I didn't even have this written down, but I did see too that they confirmed that this movie is going to be coming out on digital platforms in literally like a month from now, which is like, which is a whole lot sooner than most movies do it. And I think it's exactly because of the kind of lackluster box office numbers at the theaters. But anyways, again, we'll get into more of that stuff here soon. But so both Zachary Levi, who's obviously plays Shazam in the movies, and the director of the movie have they both had some pretty interesting comments about how this movie performed and why that might have been the case. So we're gonna go over what they said, and then we'll talk about what they said and then why we we think, the movie might not have done so well at the box office. But anyways, first up, apparently, someone, well, we'll just go down to this post here. So someone here on Instagram posted, the Wrap confirms that in Shazam Fury of the Gods, the Justice Society from Black Adam were supposed to recruit Shazam in the post-credit scenes. The Rock denied access, and David F. Sandberg, who's the director of Shazam, had to make a last-minute decision to add Amelia and John. Again, kind of spoilers if you haven't seen Shazam 2. But anyways, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson attempted to restructure the DCU, centering him and Henry Cavill's Superman. The Rock didn't allow Zachary Levi to cameo in a post-credit for the Black Adam. So again, most of this stuff we kind of already heard rumors about in the past, but most interestingly is that Zachary Levi himself, he screenshotted this and he posted it on his Instagram story, and he captioned it with "The truth will set you free." So, I mean, it seems like he's pretty much all but confirming that, The Rock kind of screwed up both him appearing in Black Adam and, characters from Black Adam appearing in Shazam 2 as well.
And his own movie.
Yeah. And then along with that, kind of going along with what you said earlier, Evan, in a separate post, he also said that he thinks one of the main reasons why the movie is kind of had poor box office results is due to a lack of marketing from Warner Brothers side. So, and while we're on that topic, I definitely agree with that, because I quite literally everyone I've talked to, when this movie came out, I was like, yo, are you planning on going to see Shazam 2 or whatever? And they were like, Shazam 2? I didn't even know that was coming out.
Right, yeah.
Every single person I talked to had no idea the movie. Well, most of them knew the movie was a thing, but they didn't know it was coming out when it did. The movie just had an abysmal marketing campaign. Literally no one knew anything about that movie or when it was coming out. And I think, again, this is kind of just speculating on my part, but I think most of it had to do with the fact that they're just kind of quickly trying to skip past this movie to get to the Flash, right? Because we've heard so many good things about the Flash, and how Warner Bros is hyping it up so much to be on the same level as the Dark Knight, yada yada yada. And if they're truly that excited about it, I can definitely see them being okay, dude, we're so excited about the Flash, let's start promoting it. Oh, we have Shazam 2 first. Oh shit, okay, yeah, sure, just do a $10 commercial or something, and then that'll be it. Then we can get back to focusing on the Flash. That's one of the things I have a strong feeling factored into that, in terms of it not getting as strong of a marketing campaign for the movie. But I don't know. Do you guys have any thoughts on that?
I mean, I feel like I shared my thoughts, but I don't know. There's been a lot coming out about The Rock and what actually happened behind the scenes and whatnot, and it's kind of hard to tell the truth between the lies, because I feel like probably everybody's telling
it seems like he's
truth.
Got a lot of beef with everyone,
for sure.
And I mean, that's the case with a lot of high level, they have a lot of control over what they're making, and they see what they see and they know what they want, but that can also result in this kind of shit where you're wrong and you're not listening to anyone. But I don't know. I haven't seen the movie, so I can't really say if it was just the marketing and just it not being good. But I do think that the marketing was. I saw maybe 2 trailers, and it was on YouTube TV where I was watching the game.
Yeah.
Like I didn't see it like on any of my feeds on my phone or anything like I usually get for like I would hear left and right about Morbius before it came out. Like nonstop. Like it was just every NBA game, every fucking
I know.
any like high level cable access, like it was everywhere. But
yeah,
you know,
see, that's why I feel like that has to be like the main reason, because it can't just be because well, first of all, sure, I think the movie has like a 50% on Rotten Tomatoes or something like that, which I mean isn't great, but it's not like abysmal like some other movies. Like Morbius has a way lower Rotten Tomatoes score rating than that, but the audience rating for Shazam 2 is like an 85. Like it's actually like pretty good. And with that being said too, we also just talked about like Morbius literally made more at the box office, despite Morbius obviously being a far worse movie than Shazam 2 is. So I don't think it's just the fact that like people like didn't like the movie. The only thing I can think of, at least that makes sense in that regard, is mostly to do with the marketing. But
yeah, I mean, what I saw didn't look bad.
Right, yeah, and I did see the movie, and like it's pretty much like the first Shazam. Like if you thought the first Shazam was decent, you'll probably think the same of the second one. You know, it's not anything crazy. Like it's definitely far from a masterpiece, but it's definitely far from horrible as well. So, but who knows? Who knows as to the real reason? But you know, another thing too is I feel like another thing that kind of like backs up what I was saying earlier is, do you remember, I don't know if you guys watched it, but do you remember like the DCU reveal video that James Gunn did in January, where he was talking about like the DCU? Like, I don't know if you guys remember when he was talking about like the movies from this year, or the movies that like were going to be coming out this year. And he was like, yeah, you know, Flash is an awesome movie. I've seen it. It's amazing. You know, it's going to serve as a reset and lead into the DCU. Aquaman 2 is also going to lead directly into the DCU. And then what was the other one? Blue Beetle. He was like, yeah, you know, Blue Beetle, as of right now, it's on its own. But, you know, based off what we've seen, there's a good chance it could also be in the DCU in the future. And then Shazam 2. Yeah, Shazam 2 is coming out. Like he just kind of like he said like all of this for the other movies, and then when he got to Shazam 2, he was like, yeah, you know, Shazam 2, it's on its own, you know, it's coming out. So I feel like that just goes to show like yeah, I feel like that just goes to show like how much confidence they had like in the movie, like even like months ago. So whether that, you know, contributed to them like not really doing anything crazy marketing related to the movie, I don't know, but I feel like I just feel like Warner Bros was just like setting them up to fail like from the start. I don't know. It just seemed like they didn't even really care about the movie and whether it succeeded or not. But not like the people like working on the movie, but like, you know, like the higher ups, like Warner Bros. But anyways,
actually make the decisions.
Right, yeah. And like some of that is kind of backed up with what the director himself has said about the movie, which we're about to get into here. So interestingly enough, someone, I can't remember what this person said online, but someone like tagged Sandberg in like a post, and they were like, oh, you know, like, does it bother you that like Shazam 2 like is like failing at the box office or whatever? And he was like, well, he said this quote right here. He was like, no worries, it's not like this comes as a surprise. I saw where this was heading a long time ago. I'll be all right though. I got paid all my money up front. And he said this like literally a day after the movie came out, by the way.
Jesus.
So like he didn't even give it like room to breathe. Like he didn't give it like a week or something. Like yeah. He was like, well, he was saying this in response to like a comment about like the box office performance like not being. So he was talking about like the box office numbers, not like the.
It was bad.
But yeah, that is that's definitely an interesting statement because I don't know if I've ever seen like a director, say something like that, like quite literally a day after their movie comes out. But again, it just kind of goes to show that like kind of makes it seem like again like the studio were just kind of like not even really like backing him or the movie from the start. So he was like, he kind of already knew like from the start. He's like, what am I supposed to do at that point? But again, that's just me reading between the lines. I don't really know if that's if that was the case for sure. And then alongside that, he also said that he intends on taking a break from superhero movies for a while. I guess he wants to go back to making like horror movies and stuff, because that's like where he started off, I guess. But yeah, he's gonna be taking a break from that. And then he also, lastly, he made this interesting statement about the whole Black Adam situation. And he said, hold on, what did they ask him? Oh yeah, they asked him if he was disappointed that he never got to make like a Shazam versus Black Adam happen. And he said, what did he say? What makes the most sense is to have them fight each other. So it's money left on the table, but it is how it is. And then after that, he just said how he was moving on and whatnot. But yeah, again, kind of going along with what we've heard about either the Rock or someone higher up at Warner Brothers had to have like denied that, because it sounds like they kind of wanted to set that up and make that happen between like a Shazam versus Black Adam crossover. But sounds like he was not allowed to do that. So could that have increased the hype levels for Shazam 2 if Black Adam was in it and it was like a Shazam versus Black Adam movie? I mean, I would say probably so. I would say probably so, but
it's not solely about The Rock, so we can't make it unless we got Kevin Hart. Even though Kevin Hart's like, yeah, I think we're gonna take some time away from being in each other's movies. And I'm like, oh no, not me too.
I just hope this doesn't mean that we see you
got it.
Hopefully we hopefully we don't see a scenario where this particular DCU character is a villain number 11 for the Fast and Furious franchise.
Oh god, they will be. And then they'll become.
One by one. Forever. It could end with Ben Affleck.
I always wanted fame.
I don't know. It just still baffles me. Like, if that was true, it just baffles me, like, why The Rock hates the character of Shazam so much that he did what that, because it's literally this. It's like almost the same character as Black Adam with just like a couple of differences in like their origin.
And he's just like, nah.
Like, I get like the Black Adam versus Superman thing. Like, sure, like the average person probably knows a lot more about Superman than they do Shazam, but still, dude, like, I don't know. But anyways, we still have quite a bit to cover, so unless you guys have anything else to say about that, we will move on. And this next part is it's unfortunate news, and probably one of the biggest like news related things, not even just like for Marvel, but just like news in general that's come out over the last couple days. And some of you might already know what I'm about to say, but unfortunately, Jonathan Majors, who, obviously plays Kang and will be playing Kang in the MCU. He was arrested, and he has been charged with multiple counts of misdemeanor assault and harassment. I think it was.
Was it charged or?
Yeah, so he's now officially been charged.
What
However,
specifically?
Yeah.
Wait, what?
First charged in general.
wait, say it again.
So with that specifically, or just charged in general?
No, he was charged with harassment and assault
Okay.
officially. And again, I'm not going to take the time to go into all the details because, like I said, we still have quite a bit more to go over. But long story short, it was basically, an altercation between him and his girlfriend in a taxi in New York. And, I guess, he was arrested at the scene, which, actually is pretty common for, domestic situations like that.
Yeah, for sure.
And he's out now.
Usually, no matter what.
Yeah.
And why.
And the thing is, like, so I'm talking about everything that happened like the first day, like right now, because there is more other stuff and other information that's come out that we will be talking about as well. But pretty much everyone was it like before any other information came out, like I thought it was interesting because like pretty much everyone was like immediately saying like, yeah, this guy's guilty, like, like normal people, like how is normal, I guess, now with like
Public
social media and
opinion,
whatnot.
yeah.
But yeah, like
no evidence.
like as soon as an allegation comes out, like it's just raps, like people are just gonna like go with it. However, I will say it did look bad. It did look bad based off the information that was, initially provided, because I guess his girlfriend, like, she did have like visible injuries on like her face and her neck, and she had to go to like the hospital or whatever. And that was like pretty much the only information that was available at first. So I don't really blame people for being like, okay, like yeah, this guy is guilty, because that did, there's not really a whole lot, a whole lot of ways that you can explain that. But and I don't know how they plan on explaining it, to be honest with you, but we will look at the statement from his lawyer, and apparently, according to her, they have quite a bit of evidence that he is innocent. So we'll go over some of that stuff. Apparently, let's see. She says they're quickly gathering evidence and presenting evidence to the DA of New York with the expectation that all charges will be dropped imminently. So I think this was yesterday that this quote came out. So apparently, I mean, according to the evidence they have, they expect the charges to be dropped pretty soon. So again, we'll see what happens with that. And then she said the evidence includes video footage from the vehicle where this episode took place, witness testimony from the driver and others who both saw and heard of what happened, and most importantly, 2 written statements from the woman recanting these allegations. So that last part, I actually don't know how that's evidence. The only thing I can think of is that both of her statements don't add up. Like she gave 2 statements, but like there was
Especially
like
the video footage.
Right, yeah. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So, but again, like the only thing I can think of, and this was like part of what I thought could be the case, because I think later on they did say, hold on, let me try to find it. All the evidence proves that he's innocent and did not assault her whatsoever. So if that's the case, I mean, how does she get injured like that? Which again goes to this next part. She said, unfortunately, this incident came about because this woman was having an emotional crisis for which she was taken to a hospital yesterday. So I don't know if they're trying to imply that, I don't know, she had like a breakdown or something and she's like somehow injured herself, either intentionally or unintentionally. I don't know. But again, I don't know how they're going to explain all this stuff. All I can tell you is what both sides have said so far about the matter. And then, yeah, they just end it with the NYPD is required to make an arrest in these situations, which we already talked about. And this is the only reason Majors was arrested. We expect these charges to be dropped soon. And another thing this article doesn't add, but I did see earlier, is that apparently he was actually the one that called the police in the first place. Like, it wasn't even like anyone else or the alleged victim.
Yeah.
It was actually him, because he was concerned about her. He was concerned about his girlfriend. And then they came, and then as soon as the police arrived on the scene, then she was like, yeah, he assaulted me or whatever, and then they arrested him. But so those are pretty much all the facts. Well, I guess not the facts, but that's all the information, I guess, so far that we have to go off of. So, we'll see what happens. I'm sure that we'll find out more in the coming days and the coming weeks, but yeah, I don't know. That's pretty much all I can say right now. Like, I will say, like, if they do indeed have all of this evidence, I mean, if they're not lying about that, then it's, obviously he didn't do it and something else happened. But we'll see what happens. But if, on the off chance that this is true, I mean, I don't know necessarily what that's going to mean for him in like the future of like playing Kang in the MCU, or how that might affect the future of the
Terrence Howard.
I saw that. I saw someone meme about that too the other day.
Or what was it? Just Robert Downey Jr. in blackface.
Yeah. Oh no. But again, really all I can say is we'll see what happens. Let the people that know what actually happened and have, the people that have the evidence and the facts, let them do what they do, and we'll find out what really happened soon enough, I'm sure. But you guys have any additional thoughts on that before we move on?
I do not. Not on stream.
Okay. Fair enough. All right. Well, with that being said, seems like it's never ending these days, but there is yet another quite a big, like, I guess, drama related news that's come out regarding Marvel over this last week. And apparently Victoria Alonso was pretty shockingly fired from Marvel.
Oh yeah, the VFX lady.
Yeah, so she was basically the head of like the VFX and the animation production department at Marvel for 16 years. And just seemingly out of nowhere, without warning, she was fired from Marvel. Now, it took actually quite a while for all the details about this to come out, so we'll kind of just briefly go over each of them real quick. But apparently, first of all, at first, the main reason people thought that she was fired was because there was quite a few people saying that she was basically the main reason why VFX artists hated working for Marvel. Like, I guess according to them, she was like,
yeah, not the schedules.
Right.
Definitely has nothing to do with the schedules.
Right. I'm just saying what these people were saying. I'm not saying if it's true or not, but they were saying that like she was like basically the person that like the VFX artists had like the biggest gripe with working for, or whenever they had to work for Marvel. However, it is also worth pointing out that some other people like actual like industry insiders or whatnot have said that that's likely not true. So take that as you will. I don't know if we ever really will know the full truth behind that particular part, but anyways, that was not the reason apparently why she was fired. And apparently the reason for her firing was because she worked on a non-Disney like documentary called Argentina 1985, which I guess was actually nominated for an Oscar a couple weeks ago. But anyways, so that was apparently a breach in contract, her working on that documentary. But apparently they let that slide because, you know, obviously she had worked there for 16 years and they just they're like, okay, like whatever, that's fine, like you can do that, with the stipulation that she did not promote it at all. So she was allowed to work on it, she just was not allowed to promote it at all. She did it several times. she went on like a couple different interviews talking about it. She promoted it in a couple other different ways as well, I can't remember. But apparently that was the reason that they fired her. Again, you know, is that enough to warrant a firing? I mean, in some people's eyes, you know, probably not. But at the end of the end, trust me, I'm the last person to side with a mega company, okay, with stuff like this. But at the end of the day, it was a breach of contract. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's not really a whole lot else that they can do. And the reason I bring that up is because apparently she is suing Marvel or Disney, I guess, one of the two, for for like
$1 billion
for whatever they call it, like wrongful firing or termination, whatever.
Wrongful termination, yeah. Or termination without reason, something like that.
Yeah. And this was her lawyer's statement, which, fun fact, by the way, apparently her her lawyer that's in charge of this suing Disney is the same one who's also representing that producer that was fired from Lucasfilm that we talked about on the last podcast.
I wonder if he represented Scarlett Johansson.
Honestly, it might be. That could have been as well.
Hilarious.
But anyways, long story short, this was her lawyer's statement, and like, again, like, we're not going to read the whole thing because it's quite a bit, but like most of this stuff, it's basically just coming down to like, oh, like how dare they like fire her for like working on this passion project of hers and whatnot. But again, you know, it is a breach of contract. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, if it's a breach of contract, it's a breach of contract.
Right. Like, again, not saying like it's right or wrong that they did that, but at the end of the day, you know, it was in her contract. She signed it, and they even like warned her not to do it, like multiple times, at least according to Disney, they did. And you know, she still did it, and you know, she got fired. But and then Disney's statement, they said that, basically just what I summarized, that she's leaving out several key factors concerning the departure, including an indisputable breach of contract, yada yada yada. Yeah, and then just more corporate jargon. But apparently, hold on, let me see if I can find it too. That's not to promote it. She did, yeah. It's also explained that her habit of taking days off to conduct her own personal business affairs, such as producing said documentary, Argentina 1985, contributed to some of the big VFX delays at Marvel Studios. So that goes.
I don't believe.
That kind of goes into what you were saying, how like you know, like the workload and like whatnot, and like the delays might have been happening.
If she didn't take a couple
like
days off, they would have never had that bullshit.
Right. But again, I don't know. Same thing with the Jonathan Majors situation. Like, no one really knows for sure all the facts yet. Like, you know, you got people saying both sides. Oh, and there goes Ben. He's gone. No one really knows both sides, but at least like the full truth. Both sides have given their own thoughts and opinions on what happened, but we'll see what happens. But all I can say is, based off the information that has been made available so far, it definitely seems that Victoria is not going to have really any grounds for suing Disney, because it was, like I said, at the end of the day, if it was a breach in contract, it's a breach in contract. Like, there's really no way to work around that. But yeah, that's is he back?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, okay. What happened? UTC?
Yeah, so you know how the other day you were talking to me about the like the voice chat thing, like being grayed out?
Oh, yeah.
Mine was grayed out, but I didn't touch anything, but it randomly disconnected and I had to reconnect it.
Well, welcome back. Hopefully it doesn't disconnect
Welcome
you again,
back.
but yeah, anyways, long story short, that's all I gotta say about that. You guys have anything else to add?
No, not really. Like, it seems I've said my piece. I'm just gonna get mad again.
I feel it.
Like, yeah, if it's a breach of contract, it's a breach of contract. There's no reason to like talk about that other shit, like the more personal shit that, if she's contractually able to do the thing, then you shouldn't be complaining about it. Because I guarantee she's contractually able to take days off.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, just like everybody else. Like, you can't. It can't say in a contract that you can't take days off specifically unless it's like there's like certain fields that like you kind of have to,
Right, yeah.
medical fields and whatnot, that you kind of have to. But well, who knows, dude? Disney's into that shit.
Right, for sure. And like the thing is, again, who knows how much of this is true or not, but based off what they've said, like her even working on the documentary itself was already a breach of contract. But because she had worked there for so long, they're just letting it slide. They're like, okay, that's fine, like as long as you don't promote it. So
We'll let it slide till we don't.
they were already like, okay, like that's fine, just don't promote it. And then she just continued to push the envelope, I guess. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. But anyways, with that being said, we now go back to Star Wars briefly, this time for the movie side of things. And just two quick things to talk about here. And then we will move on to the rest of the stuff. But so as we talked about over the last couple of podcasts, the Damon Lindelof Star Wars film, which is the one that was like supposed to be the next one coming out in 2025. Unfortunately, he has left the project. He did not say he did not say why, although most people are reporting it was due to creative differences, as is normally the case. However, he did submit his first draft of the script before he departed, so they at least have that to go off of. But again, I just don't know at this point what to say. Like, I mean, it literally seems like all of there's movie projects that they've talked about or have been reported that I've like kind of been excited about, or like, oh, that could be interesting. Like, it just seems like they're all just falling by the wayside one by one. Like, yeah, it really does. Like, first there was the Kevin Feige produced one. They announced, well, they didn't officially announce that yet, but the Taika one, as of now, that one, they said that one, as far as they know, is still.
I'll believe it when I see it, dude. After they killed him, I haven't seen Taika.
They're just like, yeah, he'll get around to it, and then they just keep saying that for like the next 50 years. Like, yeah, he's getting around to it.
Wait a minute, where'd Taika Waititi go?
They're like, yep, he's locked.
Richard Ayoade? No.
They're just like, yeah, we don't know. He's locked himself in somewhere to work on the script. That's the last we heard of him. So he must be
check.
He must be really
check out him?
he must be really ironing out that script. It's taken him 50 years. But hold on a second. Sorry, I had to sneeze. All right.
How dare you tell me to hold on?
But yeah, I just truly don't know what to think about this, because like the report that said this, they did say that this movie is still on track to be the first movie that comes out in 2025, and that it's not expected to be delayed, even though he's their main writer has left the project. I don't know if that's because he's already submitted a draft, or because they weren't even supposed to start filming this until a year from now anyways. like they weren't supposed to start filming until February or March of next year anyways. So with that being said, I mean, they still have a whole year to finish up the script, you know, so I don't think it's going to cause any delays, but still, I mean, I was really looking forward to, you know, seeing what Lindelof came up with for the story, because, I mean, Watchmen was phenomenal, like that show that he did. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if it was just them, like, not letting him do entirely what he wanted to do, or what happened, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I will say they did already hire his replacement, though. They recently hired Stephen Knight to finish up the script, and I actually had never heard of him before, so that I had to look it up. And apparently, he's most known for creating the Peaky Blinders show. Which I've not seen, but
Peaky fucking Blinders is a great show.
Is it? Yeah, I was gonna say I've heard.
Call me Shelby.
I've heard quite a few good things about it, but
the whole time.
I mean, I guess that's good. You know, they replaced him with another like creator of a show that's pretty well received. So we'll see, man. I don't know. I mean, by the day, honestly,
Peaky Blinders.
I'll add it to the list for sure. Unfortunately, there's still so many other things I have to get caught up on, but I definitely will get around to it eventually, though. And especially now, even more so, I definitely will be, knowing that he's going to be writing the next Star Wars movie now as well. But yeah, I don't know, man. At the end of the day, I just don't know how to feel. Like, it literally seems like we just get more like either iffy or just bad Star Wars news like every time there is news. So I don't know, man. Hopefully, the only good thing is that Star Wars Celebration is literally right around the corner and a little shy of 2 weeks from now. So we're expected to get at least some type of updates on like the movies and the shows and whatnot. So hopefully we get some good news that comes out of that, because, you know, I feel like we haven't gotten any good news on the movie side of things in a while. But anyways, with that being said, that kind of leads into the last and final Star Wars thing. So I can't remember who it was, but one of the big like Star Wars scoopers has said that they're going to be announcing at least 3 of the Star Wars movies at the upcoming Celebration.
Yeah, they're gonna announce it and be like, you know what, we changed our mind. Well, get Bill Murray to direct this one.
I guess not only announce, but also like, because most of them, I'm assuming that they're gonna talk about, they've already announced. Like this one that Lindelof was a part of, and now Stephen Knight is a part of. Like, they've already announced that before. They just didn't literally say any type of other information about the movie. So I'm assuming that, you know, they're going to reconfirm that and like the release date and finally give us some details about that. And then the rumor is that one of the other movies is going to be the Taika Star Wars movie they're going to talk about, and then a unknown third movie. So again,
where we fix Finn's character.
Well, good one, dude. I wish, man. I wish.
Somehow Finn returned.
Honestly, that's the one scenario that I'd be okay with.
Right, dude, I wouldn't even question it. Oh yeah, awesome. Oh yeah.
They're like,
somehow, dude.
They're like, hey, you know what? We're finally gonna give Finn something to do in Star Wars. The only issue is, you know, we got to say somehow he returned. I'd be like, you know, that's all right as long as you give him something to do. Like I'm cool with it, you know. But yeah, I don't know. Honestly, even if they wanted to, it's just I don't think John Boyega is gonna.
Oh yeah,
and right, yeah, rightfully so. I wouldn't go back to that dog water company again, but you know. Anyways, yeah, so we'll see what happens, but one way or another, whether we get some cool announcements or not, we will know for sure in what is it, like 11 days from now. So we will definitely have something to talk about for the next podcast, one way or another. But anyways, we will now continue with some movie related stuff. We got a couple DC related things, and then I think we'll round it out with some more Marvel movie stuff. But with that being said, Ben, do you wanna take over?
Ben died.
Hello, is this thing on?
Oh no, we're here.
Hello?
We're here, right?
Okay. Wait, did you hear me?
Um,
Oh, okay, you're good.
So going back to a little bit of DC stuff, Zack Snyder has revealed a 3-day SnyderCon event.
Okay, dude, no.
This event will take place towards the end of April. The event will be IMAX showings and online watch parties for his 3 DC films, Man of Steel, Batman vs Superman, and Justice League. And isn't there some earth-shattering news that Snyder's about to come out with? A message from the villain of Snyderverse, or the villain from the Justice League, or whatever.
I don't know what
Do
you're talking
you guys know what you're talking? Okay. I know Zack Snyder tweeted something about an incoming message, and it gave a date, and I think somewhere in the incoming message it says it all comes full circle.
Yeah. So that's talking about his SnyderCon thing. Like kind of like coming full circle and like wrapping up like his whole stint with like the DC universe and whatnot. Real quick though, I also want to point out Dino in the comments said they should let Darren Aronofsky write a Star Wars. That would be pretty sick, actually. I would definitely be down for that. I don't know if he would do that necessarily. I don't know if he's ever said he'd be interested in something like that, but yeah, I mean,
I'm interested in $1 billion.
Right. I mean, I'm sure if he came to Lucasfilm with an idea for a movie, well, actually, I don't know. I was going to say I'm sure that they would be all for it, but with some of the questionable decisions that they've been making recently, honestly, I have no clue what they would do. But long story short, I'd definitely be all for that. But anyways, continue, Ben.
So prominent insider Daniel Reitzman is reporting that Colin Farrell and Paul Dano have both signed on to join the cast for Batman 2, which I would hope so.
So I think the reason why we included that was because, well, Colin Farrell like returning as the Penguin, like people pretty much already figured that was going to happen in the second one. But Paul Dano signing a contract to return as the Riddler, that was the one that like people were kind of surprised about, because I don't know, I guess people, and myself included, just didn't expect to see him show up like that early in like the second movie. Now I don't know if it's just going to be for like a small role where like Batman like visits him in like Arkham or something like that, but
there's a sex scene.
But I don't know if they
Batman
I don't know why they would like report on like that like make such a big deal about like reporting like that contract if he was just coming back for like a small cameo appearance, you know what I mean? But I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I still think that what they're leading up to, which is the reason they're doing shows like the Penguin and the Arkham show, and I think we've also talked about the rumor before how they're doing a bunch of other like spin-off shows about like other villains like Scarecrow and characters like that. I think they're leading up to, like, by the end of the second movie, I think like they're establishing all of these characters, right, that are already going to be in Arkham Asylum by the time of the second movie, so that by the end of the second movie, or maybe sometime in between, who knows, There's just going to be a huge breakout. All of them are going to be out and on the loose, and then that's going to culminate in the events of the third movie, where he's just going to have to try and get everyone like recaptured, I guess. But that's just my theory as to what's going to happen.
So then we move on, and according to the Hollywood Reporter, Tom Cruise recently,
I forgot about that.
yeah,
It's
so
such a
Tom
random
Cruise,
thing, but it is interesting. Go ahead.
yeah, so Hollywood Reporter Tom Cruise recently watched the upcoming Flash movie, and he reportedly loved the movie so much he cold called the director to rave about it. Wow.
Yeah. I remember reading the full story about that. It was like really funny. Like, I guess he had a meeting with who's Warner Bros. New CEO again?
Now Bob Iger.
Zaslav. He like met with him, and he was like telling Tom Cruise about like how good the Flash was, and he was like, "Oh, do you care if I watch it?" And he was like, "Yeah, sure, go ahead." And like they like sent like an errand boy, like one of Bros employee, like to Tom Cruise's house, and like they made him like the employee just stand in the room that like Tom Cruise was like watching the movie to like until the movie was done, so that he could like take it immediately back to the studio. And then apparently that's when he like called the director and like told him how good the movie was. But yeah, I mean, I guess we've already been hearing a lot of good things about the movie, but now it officially has the Tom Cruise seal of approval, I guess. But
that's the thing.
So then going back to the new DCU with things, in a recent interview with PHR, Ben Affleck revealed that he has not desire to be he has no desire to be a part of the new DCU, which contradicting what James Gunn said recently about Affleck wanting to direct an upcoming project. He then went on to reveal that his terrible experience working on the Justice League film after Joss Whedon took over was the main reason he backed out of directing his solo Batman film a few years ago. Lastly, he confirmed that he is only in the Flash movie for about 5 minutes, but claims it is his best performance as Batman yet. Well, bummer it's only 5 minutes, but I guess that's where the whole multiverse of bats come in.
yeah, we kind of already figured that. I mean, obviously we know most of the Flash movie takes place in Flashpoint, so obviously Ben Affleck's Batman probably wouldn't have had the chance to be in the movie for that long anyways. But that was curious how he said that his experience working on the Justice League was the reason he backed out of directing and starring in the solo Batman movie, which, I mean, I honestly don't blame him based off how that ended up going, especially once Joss Whedon took over. But it is curious though, that first part, because let me see if I can find it here. Yeah, so literally a couple weeks ago, and I think we talked about this on the podcast too, James Gunn said he said Ben Affleck really wants to be a part of our architecture team, trying to bring things together, and he really wants to direct one of our projects, and we're looking forward to him doing that. We just have to find the right project for him. And then for Ben Affleck to literally be like, yeah, I literally have no desire to do anything with James Gunn. It's DCU. That's definitely very weird. Like, I don't know, like one of the two is lying, and I don't see why Ben Affleck would lie in this regard, because it'd be one thing if they just like asked him out of the blue, like, hey, are you going to be directing something in the DCU? Like, obviously, you know, with like the NDAs they sign, like he has to be like, no, I'm not doing that. But there's no reason to lie because James Gunn already said that he was going to be directing something in the DCU. So I don't know. It's
I
just
don't know about no reason, but yeah, no, not a good reason.
so that was just a very weird situation. But I mean, if we take Affleck at his word, I mean, I guess he isn't going to be a part of the DCU or in any capacity, I guess. But let me see. Dino says Tom's awesome. The comic Flashpoint is dope, but I'm nervous about them bringing Burton's universe into DCEU. Yeah. Well, first of all, yeah, the comic Flashpoint is amazing, and I don't know if you ever saw the animated movie as well. That was also really cool. As to bringing the Burton universe into the DCU, I mean, again, there's not really a whole lot to go off of other than the one trailer we got, but I mean, they are saying a lot of good things about the Flash movie. Pretty much anyone that's seen it, whether it be like other famous actors or like people who are part of the what do they call them, like the test screenings or whatnot, like people are basically all giving it a 10 out of 10. So I don't know. It seems like most people that have seen it have really liked and enjoyed everything about that movie. So I'm assuming that would also include the, Tim Burton Batman and his whole universe being merged or at least appearing in the Flashpoint. So I don't know, but we'll have to wait and see if they're, just overhyping the movie or. I mean, I'm hoping it'll meet the hype, but I mean, they've been setting some pretty crazy high expectations for the movie, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I hope they don't fuck it up either.
Yeah, that's honestly all we can hope for at this point. Like, such like a big event from the comics that a bunch of people like. I mean, that's all we can hope for, honestly, is that they don't mess it up. But
Batman that is pretty well received already.
Yeah.
But it has like a whole like following behind it. Hope they don't fuck it up.
But
anywho.
Did you so
yeah, good transition.
Clean.
Staying in the DCU. Right. Scooper Grace Randolph reported that a new trailer for Wait, hold on a second. Not sticking to the DCU.
Kind of.
Anyway.
The first one part of it is, but
yeah.
The other part.
So Scooper Grace Randolph reported that a new trailer for Across the Spider-Verse, as well as the first trailer for Blue Beetle, are both coming out very soon, so that they can play with the new Super Mario Bros. Movie in theater.
No.
Hey, I don't know about you guys, but I'll probably go see the Super Mario movie.
Oh, I mean, I'm gonna watch it. That doesn't mean I'm gonna like it. It looks awesome though, like at least the animation and shit.
Yeah.
Anywho.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Because I know. Hold on. Let me look at. One of the it was George Lopez. He's one of the actors in the Blue Beetle movie. He said on. He's playing what?
Sorry.
Oh, okay,
He's
okay.
Playing Blue Beetle. He's playing Jaime.
He said in an Instagram post not too long ago that there was the first trailer coming out soon. But yeah, the Mario movie comes out in like a week and a half, something like that. So I mean, if it is true that we're getting both of those trailers before, so that they can play with the Mario's movie in theaters, I mean, it would have to come out like pretty soon. Like I'd say probably within the next week. Both of those trailers would be out, but I don't know. We'll see if that turns out to be true or not. We won't have to wait too long, but
and then the last thing that I have here is that the Gears of War film for Netflix film adaptation has hired John spites to write the script. His previous writing credits include Doctor Strange, Dune, Prometheus, and others.
You say Dune or Doom?
Dune.
Like
D-U-N-E.
sand or
Yeah, sand.
Yeah, like the sand dunes.
Okay, thank God.
Yeah, no, he's written some pretty good stuff. So hopefully that means that.
Yeah, but he didn't write Doom.
Yeah, adaptation is going to be pretty solid. But Dino says it's got to be better than the last Mario movie. Chris Pratt doing regular or a Mario accent? Question mark. Well,
It's a me.
Funny you
Chris
say
Pratt.
that. Funny you say that. I mean, what would you guys classify it as? I think it's pretty much like a blend. Like it's not really a full-on Mario accent, but it's kind of like somewhere in between.
It's
at least
Chris
in my
Pratt
opinion,
talking like he's Mario.
yeah, pretty much. It's funny too that that they mentioned that, because did you guys see where he like trolled people? I can't remember where it was from or what event it was at, but someone basically asked him about like the criticism for like his Mario voice, and he was like, I mean, people just want me to do something like this, and he did basically a perfect Mario impression. I can't remember what he said, but I like briefly listened to it, and it literally sounded exactly like Mario, and everyone was like,
"This defeats the purpose of getting Chris Pratt, though."
Exactly, and everyone was like,
if you want to hear Mario, he's alive. That dude's around. He's still kicking.
Yeah. Well, I think the thing was like, and I mean, I guess it's, you know, everyone's opinion, but there's quite a bit of people that
my opinion is fact, dude.
There's a lot of people that just want him to, you know, or at least want the character to sound exactly like Mario, whether it's Chris Pratt voicing him or not. But you know, we got what we got. That's all I'll say. So the animation does look crazy though. Like, I don't know how the story is going to be. I don't know how anything else about the movie is going to be, but the animation definitely looks pretty crisp. But anyways, what else you got?
That's all I have.
Oh, that's all you got? Sheesh. All right, well, Evan, you're up.
No, I'm just not doing. See you later. All right. This I actually did hear. Denzel Washington, not his son, actual D. Willie, and Barry Keoghan have reportedly joined cast of Ridley Scott's upcoming Gladiator sequel film. I'm stoked about that. That'd be awesome. Honestly, anything with Denzel and it's pretty good. So
True.
Yeah, I think that'd be cool. Once again, a rumor.
I think this was. Hold on, let me see. It was THR reporting it, so it's
reportedly. So,
well, it's one of the trades, so it's. I mean, that's all but confirming it, but 99% of the time, you can take that. I mean,
I don't think it's.
It's the trades for a reason. That's all I'll say. But also, yeah, Dino, I don't know how anyone could not like Chris Pratt, but you know, that's also that's just my opinion too. I'm sure there's people that have their reasons.
Different political opinions than people. Like, no, not really.
That's probably a reason as well. But yeah, I don't know. Well, yeah, that leads us a whole other thing. But
oh yeah, no, I'm not going to that. But yeah, no, that'd be cool. Have them in a Ridley Scott movie, especially Gladiator sequel. I don't know if we needed a Gladiator sequel, but
we're getting it.
Yep, yes, we are. Seems to happen a lot. Anyway, moving on to my homie that doesn't know me, Quentin Tarantino, has reportedly finished the script for his 10th and final movie, which will be titled The Movie Critic. Oh, here we go. It is currently being shot at various studios and will reportedly take place in the late 70s. No other information is known as of yet. I bet it's gonna be about him, but like in a different universe.
Tarantino.
That's more bloody. He's a writer that actually kills. No, I don't know. Will it actually be his last? We'll find out. He says he only wanted to do 10.
Yeah.
We'll see if his directorial ego can let him only do 10.
Right. I know he said that first like a while ago, right? I think. But then I think he like reconfirmed that like as recently as a year ago when someone asked him. He was like, yeah, but true, yeah. I feel like once he like completes the movie and it's out, like maybe after a couple years, you know, maybe he'll realize like, hey, I have another idea. Like I kind of want to do this, but
or maybe he films him offing himself.
Okay.
And then that's the movie.
That would be that definitely would be a Tarantino-esque. That would fit right in with the messed up, brutal violence of a Tarantino movie. But let's see, Dino says Chris Pratt could be in Gears of War and Gladiator sequel, and I'd be down. No. I mean, yeah. he could probably fit into anything, honestly. But Quentin should make the Vega brothers before retiring. Yeah, that'd be cool. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that he's talked about over the years, like wanting to do or potentially doing like spin-offs or sequels from, you know, some of the movies he's already done. But, you know, I don't know if it's ever gonna happen because as of now, he's saying that this 10th one is going to be his, you know, his last film, like he said for a while. But who knows? Maybe at some point in the future he'll get around to doing some of those other movies that he's talked about. But yeah, I think he has talked about doing something like that before, though. But
well, moving to another good director. One of my favorite. Jordan Peele's next movie is scheduled for a Christmas Day release next year. And that's it.
that is it. They haven't really said any other information.
News, water's wet.
Well, did he say anything about doing another movie after that?
Yeah, no, he's just done. He's done. No more movies.
I mean, you never know.
Okay, dude. Yeah.
So I mean,
he's not doing anything ever again.
Well, I didn't say he wasn't going to do anything, but there's some directors out there that have only done a couple movies.
No,
you know?
Not like this. not literally at the top of their game. One of the best directors in Hollywood.
Yeah,
come on.
Anything's possible, man. That's all I'll say.
Dude, move on, dude.
Nah, I'm just trolling you at this point. No, that is really cool. I'm looking forward to it. We'll have to see what it turned out to be, but I'm sure it'll be something along the lines of, you know, the same style genre as his other movies have been. But
got another report here. Jordan Peele is also going to sleep tonight. Crazy report.
That's honestly probably the least likely thing of anything to happen. That dude is probably staying busy all the time. He probably doesn't even sleep like half the week. But
we gotta talk about Zack Snyder again.
What, you're not a Zack Snyder stan, dude?
I'm just sick of hearing it.
Well, they
weren't that good.
This isn't about his DC movies, but
yeah, but it's about it.
Sheesh, it was a hater over here.
Zack Snyder's upcoming Rebel Moon will be split into 2 films, and the hope is that they will be successful enough to launch its own cinematic universe. Yeah, dude, everybody gets one. Apparently, the idea for the films were initially for a Star Wars project, but Lucasfilm backed out after the failure of Batman vs Superman. Can we call it a failure? Anyway, the film's composer recently revealed that both currently planned films will also be getting extended R-rated cuts in Zack Snyder fashion.
Well, there you go. I
Rebel
still,
Moon.
it's that like Star Wars looking movie that's coming out later this year on Netflix. There's no trailer or anything like that out yet, but there are some rumors that he's going to be revealing the first trailer at that SnyderCon event towards the end of April. But
100% he is, by the way. If he's having a con, he's definitely showing
probably. But yeah, I don't.
He probably threw the con
just for that. Actually, that was secretly the real reason. Honestly, I wouldn't put it past him.
Just like everything.
But yeah, we'll see what happens. I will say, like, some of like the concept art and like the stills that he has officially released from that project. I mean, visually it does look pretty sick. So, hopefully the story lines up and is equally as good. But we'll have to see. But as for the whole cinematic universe thing, unless it's like extremely popular, I don't know if that'll ever be the case. Although I will say he also did recently confirm that they're making a video game, like a giant scale RPG type game set in the Rebel Moon universe. So
they're doing it again.
they're starting it all over. Let me see
it's
here.
It's happening again. They're literally like, we're going to turn this into a whole cinematic universe. I mean, we even got a game coming out. All right, so what happens if it's bad?
What, the
Nobody
movie or the
thinks
game?
about it. The movie.
Oh yeah.
What if it's bad?
Yeah, no, if the movie's bad, then they just wasted years of development on the game, because I think they've been working on it ever since he started working on the movie, which would have been like a year and a half, 2 years ago. So that would be
crazy, man.
That would be very unfortunate if it flops. But let me see here. Dino says, seems like Ridley has a lot of projects like new Aliens, new Blade Runner, new Gladiator. Yeah, I think he's for the Aliens one. I think he's just executive producing that. He might be doing or helping out the writing team as well with that. And I know for the Blade Runner, he is producing part of the writing team, and I think he's also directing a couple episodes of that as well. On top of obviously
these fucking sequels.
Yeah, he's got to get them all in. But
he was born in 1937, dude.
Sheesh.
And he's still making movies. Dude.
I mean,
I'm about to be 30, and I'm gonna get out of bed for work, dude.
I mean, more power to him, I guess, dude. Couldn't be me. That's all I'll say. Let's see. He also says DCU should release the original cut of Suicide Squad 2. Oh no, that is.
They'll never do that.
That's yeah.
They should. That is certain.
The reason they'll never do that is because they finally relented and gave the Snyderverse fans the Justice League cut, like the Snyder cut for the Justice League, and now ever since they did that, like, they literally won't stop harassing them to like release, like, to either make more like Snyder DC stuff or to release stuff like the Suicide Squad as well. Like, and they just keep throwing fans like a bone. Like, they're just gonna keep harassing them to make more stuff about that. So there's no way that they're gonna do that. They definitely learned their lesson releasing the Snyder cut version of Justice League, because if you look at like a Twitter post from James Gunn, literally half of the comments are just like, yo, when's Zack Snyder's Justice League 2 coming out, or like, when's this coming out, when are you bringing back Zack Snyder? Like, they're definitely not giving any more I guess fuel to that fire. But
well, I feel like we've talked about Zack Snyder a little too much.
Yeah, sorry, Donna. We got a Snyder hater over here. Sorry about that.
I don't hate him. I like
Troll.
his movies. He's just
I'm
very
trolling, yeah.
particular. Like you can tell you're watching a Zack Snyder movie.
Oh yeah, he definitely
Not
has a very
always in a
distinct
good
style.
way.
Yeah.
I like slow mo scenes as much as the next guy did, but I'm sorry, I'm not here to watch a music video. I'm here to watch.
What, you don't want to watch 15 minutes of a slow mo action scene, dude?
Yeah, dude, like I get it, and I understand slow mo certain parts to emphasize story beats, but I don't need that. Don't need 15 minutes of it. Anywho, moving on.
Yeah.
Scooper Jeff Snyder. Which is every time I hear that it's weird because my mom used to date a Jeff Snyder, and it's definitely not this Scooper. Claims that Marvel got rid of Dane Whitman becoming Black Knight subplot and his subsequent team up with Blade in the upcoming Blade film. Apparently, the reasoning for this was to trim down the script and due to the fact the story now takes place in the early 1900s. Now, I do understand if that story takes place in the 1900s because that's kind of gonna
his origins, yeah.
Yeah. But that does make me sad because I want to see that character.
Right.
I like Kit Harington. Dane Whitman's a cool character. Like he fits with Blade very well. You know,
yeah.
hope they don't just say never mind.
I mean, if they feel like that's the better course of action, right? Like if they feel like that's the better route for the story to go, then I mean, yeah, who am I to say otherwise? But it is curious though if he is not going to be in that movie, as to where else we're going to see, you know, his story progress. Because even if they do an Eternals 2, which, you know, is sounding increasingly more likely now, but even if they do that, we've already been hearing that movie is likely going to be like more cosmic, right? You know, since the first one ended with them going off into space and whatnot. But so I don't know how, you know, that character would fit into that story unless they keep like, you know, cutting back to like Earth and like what he's doing over there, which I feel like would just distract too much of, you know, the main story. So I don't know. Like if that's the case, I truly don't know where we would see him next. But we'll have to see. Dino says, I heard Aqua Brother 2 wasn't Aquaman 2. Yeah, we talked about that on the last podcast. Apparently a lot of the recent test screenings were abysmal for that. Like people are just crapping all over the movie if it's
alright, dude, you can't make that joke twice.
Sheesh. But he said, I still like DC by Nolan myself. Christopher Nolan's Batman movies. I mean, yeah, most people say those are among, if not like the best DC movies.
Yeah. Oh, next thing I have one more thing. Who the fuck is THR? Alan Horton.
The Hollywood Reporter.
The Hollywood Reporter has confirmed recent rumors that Liv Tyler is returning as Betty Ross in Captain America: New World Order, reprising the role from the Incredible Hulk movie, which is just gonna confuse the fuck out of people because her dad's dead and now played by another person.
Actor,
so that's just gonna confuse the fuck out of people. But,
yeah.
You know, I get it. It was probably in the works before John Hurt. Not John
For
Hurt,
sure, yeah. Harrison Ford.
I can't remember the actor's name. That
the original one? Was it William Hurt?
William Hurt, yeah. John Hurt's also dead, but he's British. But yeah, I mean, that's cool.
Yeah, it's just...
they're gonna do it.
Well, actually, no, I guess it does. Because I was going to say, it's weird that they would choose to bring her back for a non-Hulk related project. But then I remember, I guess the leader was confirmed to return in this movie as well. So, I mean, I guess it would add up in that regard, I guess. But I don't know. We'll see what happens. But yeah, it's definitely an interesting development.
Well, that's all I got.
Is that all you got? All right. Well, with that being said, normally we conclude the podcast streams with some video game related news. This time there's not really a whole lot to talk about in terms of video game related stuff. We got one kind of like big announcement here, and then I guess like two very quick small things that we could talk about. But the first of which is that apparently they announced a video game is in development based on the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, The Last Ronin. Which was a comic miniseries where that I actually don't know a whole lot about. If you know, feel free to feel free to give some background info, but I can look and see if the article talks anything about it. Sounds like
it's essentially there's only one turtle left and he's out for revenge kind of thing.
Gotcha. Okay. They say it's early in development. Game is expected to be significantly darker and more adult oriented.
It's closer to Logan than like an X-Men movie. If you think about like, because usually TMNT is kind of more lighthearted and whatnot, but
right, yeah,
definitely a shift in tone.
Interesting. And then the only other thing they say is probably worth mentioning is that they are comparing it to Sony's recent God of War games in terms of like the play style, I guess. But
everybody wants a piece of the pie.
Right, dude. But yeah, we'll see. Could be cool. I definitely like the concept of that. Sounds like it could be really fun, really cool game. Dino says that does seem odd. It must be their version of Secret Wars. Referring to what? What were you talking about? The Captain America 4?
Talk about New World Order,
yeah. If that's the case, I mean, yeah, because again, we've talked about this before on the podcast too, but there's just so many things that have been rumored to, or that will be happening in that movie. Only time will tell whether or which of those things turned out to be true and which of it doesn't. But yeah, it definitely sounds like a pretty large scale film. So whether it's going to lead directly into Secret Wars, I mean, probably in some aspects, but it's definitely sounds like there's going to be a lot of crazy things that happen in that movie regardless. He says the SNES TMNT game was awesome. Turtles in Time, a live multiplayer would be cool. I don't know if I've ever played that one. But yeah, if they did a multiplayer, that would be pretty cool as well. Although that'd probably have to be a different game.
Side scroller, man.
Sheesh.
The game was awesome.
But yeah, I definitely I've played a few of the Ninja Turtles games back in the day. I can't remember which ones they were, but yeah, a multiplayer version would be cool too. It'd probably just have to be a different game because it sounds like this one it's just the one turtle that's like the only one left alive. But
like a single player story, but
yeah,
that doesn't mean there can't be multiplayer elements.
He says yes, Captain America. Oh, okay. Yeah, and then the only other, there's two other things I was just going to mention very quickly. CS2 was confirmed.
CSGO 2.
Yeah, is it CSGO 2 or?
I don't know.
So I saw a bunch of people just saying CS2. I don't know if that they were just abbreviating or what, but yeah, that.
Well, I mean, it can't just be if it's a CS2, then it's a sequel to the very first Counter-Strike.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, if you played CSGO, it's basically just a big update that's coming for that game. This summer, they said sometime this summer is when they plan on releasing that update for everyone. And unlike, I've seen a lot of people saying or thinking rather that it's like a brand new game, like I mean, how could you not? I don't know why they would call it CS:GO 2 and expect people to think that it wasn't a brand new game, but it's still the same game. Like the core gameplay, the maps, all of that are the exact same. They just, yeah, they just
engine.
switched to a different engine. What do they do with the servers again?
Custom tick rate servers. And,
Yeah.
like higher tick rates and whatnot, and I think that's a different way that they're running some of the rates as well.
They did that, and then I think they did some gameplay change. I know, like they added or they changed like the VFX of like the smokes and whatnot, and like I guess they just polished up like the overall look of like the maps, and I don't know. Me personally, I mean, you know, I'm not like dying to get like back into it, right? Like, but you know, we'll see.
There's gonna be. They said something about legacy like servers and stuff.
Interesting.
Regular CS:GO.
That'd be cool, I guess, for those that just want to play the same thing, I guess.
But
right, like I don't know why you wouldn't just play the update, because like I said, it's basically the same game, just updated. But yeah, anyways, there was that, and then the other thing I was gonna bring up was for any Fortnite enjoyers out there, they added the the custom 2.0 or the creative 2.0, with like the using the Unreal Engine. Is it 5? It has to be 5, right?
It has
Unreal
to be
Engine 5, because I've seen some wild stuff.
Yeah, no, there's no way that's not Unreal 5.
I've seen some crazy stuff, but yeah, I mean, there's just too many stuff to pull up on the stream. But if you're interested in seeing some of the stuff that people have already created using the Creative 2.0 and the Unreal Engine 5, I mean, there's just some crazy stuff that people have already made. And I did see someone created like the OG Fortnite. Like they recreated it from like season 2, I think. So if you wanted to like go back and basically just play like the original version of Fortnite, you can do that. Someone like created that. I will say though too, because I've seen a lot of people saying like, oh, this is great, like, you know, people can recreate like Halo and like Call of Duty and whatnot, and it's going to be awesome. That cannot happen. they've already said that they will be shutting down like any map or creation that does something like that, because they don't want to run into like, you know, any copyright issues and stuff like that, which makes sense. So yeah, unfortunately, stuff like that will not be allowed to happen. At least, you know, it won't be allowed to like be made public, if someone does make something like that. But there have been some like pretty cool, unique creations though that people have made. So pretty wild stuff. But Dino says, I'm still trying to manifest Def Jam Vendetta Ages Divide game.
No, I feel that. Sorry, buddy, it's never coming.
I'm sorry to be that guy, but I don't know what that is.
Def Jam was a fighting game with rappers.
Oh, okay. Well,
He plays Ludacris and stomp on people.
Never heard of such a thing.
Def Jam Fight for New York. Please look it up.
That sounds awesome, actually. But yeah, I don't know. Is there anything else you guys wanted to bring up or talk about?
Oh, I thought you were gonna ask if there's anybody making it. And I'm like,
oh, okay. Oh, sorry, Dino. You heard it here first. Apparently, they're definitely
Zack
not
Snyder was making it.
Okay.
Oh my god, end the stream.
Here we go. But yeah, Dino, we're pretty much close to wrapping up the stream here soon. So if you got any other questions or comments, now's the time to get them out there. I'll wait about a minute here before we wrap things up. But yeah, that's pretty much all of the main news and leaks and whatnot, stories that have come out over the last 2 weeks. I don't know for those of you that join the podcast late, I would definitely go back and watch the first half or whatever parts of the podcast that you missed once the VOD is published. Because there's some pretty cool things that we talked about in the first half as well. We usually do these podcasts every 2 weeks, and it's pretty much the same thing. Like, we just talk about the latest official news, rumors, leaks relating to a whole bunch of different stuff. Normally, like, the more popular franchises between, like, movies, TV shows, video games, stuff like that. And the next podcast, so 2 weeks from now, hopefully we'll have a bunch of stuff from Star Wars Celebration to talk about. And hopefully, by the sounds of it, we might have some new trailers to react to and talk about as well. So, Dino says, what does Kathleen Kennedy know about Lucas for him to sign over the Star Wars franchise? You know, I ask myself that question every day. I really do. You know, we've talked about it before, some of the ideas that he was going to do for the original sequel trilogy before he sold it to Disney, which, you know, in my opinion, sounded way better than what we actually got. But I mean, if that's ever something that gets enough interest, we can always maybe do like a podcast segment where we talk about you know, some of George's original ideas for where he was going to take the Star Wars franchise. You know, or at least his original plan and vision before he sold it to Disney. But yeah, you know, it is unfortunate, but, you know, hopefully Disney can turn things around. You know, they've had some pretty good shows, you know, with like The Mandalorian, and that's it. But, you know, Ahsoka's coming up. That sounds to be pretty good. It's made by Dave Filoni, who's basically like George Lucas's apprentice, I guess, if you want to say. So hopefully we got some good stuff coming up. It's good to meet y'all. Have a good night. I'll probably be here next time if that's cool. Yeah, for sure. Like I said, usually every 2 weeks on, well, recently we've been doing them on Mondays, but usually it flips between Sundays and Mondays. If you subscribe to the channel, I'll have like a post as to like a couple days prior as to like the scheduled day and time for like the next podcast, so you can see that. It felt like he was compromised for some reason. Yeah, I think it just really came down to money, honestly. Because they really struggled to finish the Clone Wars show, because they just didn't have as large of a budget for where they wanted to take the show. Obviously they later ended up finishing at least some of those storylines once Disney took over, but yeah, it really just came down to money, and I think he just wanted to spend more time with like his family and whatnot. Because if he ended up doing another trilogy, that would have, you know, required him to spend like another 10 years away from his family and whatnot. And I think one of his kids were like just starting school or something like that, so he wanted to be around more. So, but those are the two biggest reasons why he ended up selling to Disney. But yeah, so with that being said, that is going to wrap up today's stream, the podcast. And hopefully we will see you guys next time in 2 weeks. Until then,
Yes, sir.
you guys have a great rest of your day or night, depending on where you're at. And we'll see you next time.
All right. We'll see ya.
Goodbye.